It started like a scene you've probably seen too many times. Whispers in the hallway, glances that turn into stares, laughter that wasn't meant to be shared. They said she was strange, too quiet, too different. In a school where fitting in was everything, Mia never stood a chance. She kept her head down, tried to disappear, but they wouldn't let her. The popular crowd turned her into a daily target, mocking her clothes, her voice, even the way she looked at the world. The more she stayed silent, the bolder they became. Until one day, they crossed a line that couldn't be uncrossed. Mia left school that day with something broken inside her. But time passed. She'd vanished from their lives, and they moved on like she'd never existed. Graduation came. Years went by. They became influencers, business owners, local celebrities. Their lives, filtered and flawless, filled everyone's feed. They thought it was all behind them. They didn't know Mia had been watching. She never forgot. Not the laughter, not the pain, and definitely not their faces. When she came back, no one recognized her at first. She wasn't the same timid girl they used to mock. Her voice had strength now. Her eyes carried a quiet fire. And one by one, things started happening. Small things at first, an account hacked here, a private message leaked there. Then bigger things. Reputations started cracking, secrets surfaced, carefully built lies began to unravel. They didn't know who was behind it, but she did. Every move was part of a plan, her plan. Some called it karma, others called it cruelty. But for Mia, it was justice. Now they're desperate, trying to find out who's doing this, trying to stop it. But the truth, they're too late. She's already 10 steps ahead. And the next part of her plan is something they never saw coming. Because this isn't just about revenge, it's about remembering what they did and making sure they never forget. So, what exactly did Mia do next? Well, that's where things get really interesting. Back in high school, Mia was invisible until they made her the joke of every lunch break. She didn't wear designer shoes or post selfies with filters. She was just Mia, quiet, book smart, and a little awkward. That was all it took for them to circle like sharks. Lila, the queen bee, led the pack. With her perfect smile and thousands of followers, she could ruin someone's reputation with a single story post. Her boyfriend, Trent, played along too. He pretended to be kind when teachers were around, but behind the scenes, he was worse than anyone. The rest, just followers, laughing, nodding, never questioning. Mia kept a journal back then. She wrote down every insult, every name they called her, every time they made her feel like she didn't belong. She even wrote down what she wished she could say to them, if only she had the courage. That journal sat untouched for years, tucked away in a box. Until one night, after scrolling past Leela's latest viral video, something shifted. It wasn't bitterness, it was clarity. They had built their lives on cruelty, and never paid a price for it. That's when Mia began building her plan. Slowly, carefully, she learned everything she could: coding, cybersecurity, how to trace digital footprints. No one suspected a thing. On the surface, she was just another quiet girl working a job at night. But behind the screen, she was watching, planning, waiting. She started with the smallest crack: a leaked message from one of Leila's closest friends, full of backstabbing gossip. It spread like wildfire. Then came the anonymous tips to brands Leila was working with, screenshots of old tweets, things she thought she'd deleted. One sponsorship dropped, then two, then panic. Mia didn't need to be loud. Her revenge was silent, strategic, and completely untraceable. They thought they were victims of bad luck or betrayal within their circle. Not once did they think of her, not yet. But she was always there, in the comments, in the shadows, and what she had planned next would hit closer to home than they ever imagined. Because the past doesn't stay buried forever, especially when someone's digging it up, piece by piece. As Lila's perfect image began to crumble, so did her grit on the people around her. The group that once followed her every move like she was untouchable now started turning cold. Everyone was scared of being exposed next. Friends whispered behind closed doors. Some started deleting old posts, scrubbing their social media clean, as if that would erase the past. But the damage was already done, and the worst part, they still had no idea who was behind it. Leela's once loyal followers were vanishing one by one. Her boyfriend, Trent, was the next to fall. A video clip, barely a minute long, surfaced online. It was old, grainy, and somehow worse for it. In it, Trent was clearly mocking someone, and that someone was Mia. The clip spread fast. Brands dropped him. Fans turned on him. His inbox filled with messages, some angry, some confused, some calling him out. He tried to claim it was fake, edited, taken out of context. But deep down, he knew it was real. He just didn't remember how it got out, or who could have had it. Meanwhile, Mia stayed hidden, not out of fear, but by choice. Her life now was quiet on the outside, but inside, every detail of her plan was carefully unfolding. She didn't want their apology. She didn't want pity. What she wanted was for them to understand what it felt like, to be powerless, unheard, humiliated, and she wasn't done yet. While Leela scrambled to repair her public image and Trent disappeared from social media, another member of the old group, Sasha, began to panic. She started receiving anonymous packages, old photos from high school, some of them clearly never meant to be seen again. Alongside each one was a single sentence. Asterisk, you remember this, don't you? Asterisk, her hands shook as she opened the third envelope. It wasn't just about public shame anymore. This was personal. What none of them knew was that Mia wasn't working alone anymore. Someone unexpected had joined her, someone from the same past, someone with their own reasons. And as the pieces moved into place, the story was no longer about just one girl's revenge. It was about how far people would go to hide who they really were, and what happens when the truth decides it's done waiting. The tension was starting to crack through the surface. Leela hadn't posted in days, a silence louder than any apology. Rumors swirled. People speculated about the hacker, a jealous ex, a betrayal within the group. But none of them even whispered Mia's name. She was still invisible to them, just the way she needed to be. Sasha stopped going out altogether. She barely slept. The photos, the letters, the constant feeling that someone was watching, it was getting to her. She reached out to Leela, desperate, hoping to reconnect and figure out who was behind all of it. But Leela only responded with a single voice message, her tone cold and exhausted. Asterisk, whoever this is, they know everything. I don't even trust you right now. Asterisk. The group was falling apart. Old secrets were spilling faster than they could clean them up. Every day brought a new post, a new leak, a new layer peeled back from the perfect lives they had built. And behind it all, Mia watched them scramble, knowing the real storm hadn't even started yet. Because what they didn't know was that Mia had found something hidden in plain sight, buried deep in an old group chat backup from their senior year, something darker than just bullying or mocking. It was a secret they'd all worked to keep quiet, one that could destroy more than just reputations. And now, Mia wasn't the only one who knew. The friend who had joined her, the one they also hurt, though in a quieter way, had their own copy. And they weren't afraid to use it. The final phase was in motion. Mia scheduled a live stream. Not under her name, not even under her face, just a countdown clock and a title. Asterisk, the truth they buried. Asterisk, within hours, it was trending. People from their school, from their online followings, even complete strangers were sharing it. Everyone wanted to know what it was, who it was. Leela, Trent, Sasha, they were cornered now. No more deleting. No more denying. The time they feared was here. Because when the timer hit 0, everything they'd worked to hide would be out in the open, and there would be no going back. The countdown ticked lower, less than 12 hours to go, and panic was setting in. Leela hired a reputation manager. Trent tried to threaten the platform hosting the live stream. Sasha begged an old friend who worked in tech to trace the IP address. But no matter what they tried, nothing worked. The live stream couldn't be shut down, the origin couldn't be tracked. And what scared them most was not knowing who would be exposed, or how bad it would get. But then, just when they thought they had reached the edge of the worst, the twist came. A post appeared on a hidden forum that only a few people from their schools still followed. It was anonymous, but clearly written by someone who had been on the inside. It told a different version of the story, one where Mia wasn't just a victim, but had done something back then too. Something they'd all buried. A moment when her pain turned into something darker. A night that no one ever talked about, and for good reason. The post didn't give details, just enough to shake the image people had started forming of her. Now, the viewers were split. Was Mia truly innocent? Or was this all a revenge game that had spiraled out of control? The mystery deepened, the tension thickened. Comments flooded the livestream page. Asterisk. Is this about justice or just obsession? Asterisk, are they all guilty? Asterisk, was the real villain here? Back in her apartment, Mia stared at the screen. She had read the post, she knew exactly who had written it. It wasn't Layla, it wasn't Sasha. It was someone she trusted. Asterisk, the one who had joined her asterisk. The second person who had been feeding the plan from behind the scenes. Someone with their own asterisk version of justice. And now, they were taking control of the narrative. This wasn't part of the plan. The live stream was still set to go live, but what it would reveal was no longer entirely in Mia's hands. Because when you invite others into your story of revenge, their version of the truth can become just as dangerous. And sometimes, secrets don't just ruin lives, they turn allies into enemies. The live stream hit 0. Phones lit up. Laptops buzzed. The video began with no face, just a black screen and a voice, distorted but calm. It started slowly, listing names, dates, and messages. Proof of everything Mia had gathered, real screenshots, voice recordings, photos. Every piece lined up perfectly, like a puzzle only she could have solved. The viewers were hooked, shocked, glued to the unraveling truth. Lila's fake brand deals, Trent's manipulation, Sasha's part in covering it all. One by one, their masks fell. No way to deny it now. Thousands were watching. Comments exploded. News outlets picked it up within minutes. But the biggest moment hadn't come yet. Then, the screen shifted. A second voice entered. This one wasn't distorted. It was clear, confident, and unfamiliar to most of the viewers. But Mia knew it instantly. It was Ava. Ava had been the one in the background this whole time. Another girl they had hurt, though in quieter, more subtle ways. The girl who had eaten lunch alone just like Mia. But where Mia had stopped at exposing the truth, Ava had gone further. In the live stream, she dropped something Mia never approved, an old audio clip from that night years ago. The one Mia had begged her never to use. It painted Mia in a different light. Angry, desperate, saying things she never meant to say. Threats made out of pain. The audience paused. Doubt crept in. Was Mia still the victim, or had she become something else? But then Mia's voice finally came through. Real, unfiltered. She took responsibility for her part in that moment. She admitted the anger, the damage, the obsession. But she also told the full story of how that clip had been twisted, taken out of context, used to silence her before, and now again. The screen faded to black. One last message appeared. Asterisk, this was never about being perfect. This was about being heard. Asterisk. The live stream ended. And just when everyone thought it was over, Leila posted a photo. Not a denial, not an apology, but a text thread between her and Ava, revealing that Ava hadn't just been helping Mia. She'd been playing both sides. The story was over. But the consequences had only just begun. The aftermath was messy. The livestream had gone viral, sparking conversations far beyond their small town. Comment sections filled with debates, some praising Mia for her courage, others questioning Ava's motives. Lila, for once, stayed quiet. The text thread exposed her final move. She had tried to manipulate Ava into turning on Mia, hoping to create chaos just long enough to distract everyone from the truth. But in doing so, she revealed her own desperation. Mia didn't respond publicly again. She didn't need to. Her story had already done what it was meant to do, bring the truth into the light. Not just for herself, but for anyone who had ever been laughed at, ignored, or pushed into silence. She had never claimed to be perfect. She just wanted the pain to mean something. And now it did. Trent faded out of the spotlight completely. His accounts went dark. The sponsorships were gone, and so was the charm that had once made him untouchable. Sasha issued a public apology, shaky and unsure, but it was more than anyone expected. Whether people believed it or not didn't matter. What mattered was that the lies had ended. As for Ava, she disappeared from the conversation almost as quickly as she had entered it. Some said she planned the double cross from the beginning. Others believed she had just lost control. But Mia didn't chase her down. She knew that revenge, once passed around, becomes something else. Something no one can truly hold onto. In the weeks that followed, Mia went back to living quietly. She kept her job, stayed offline, and let the dust settle. But something inside her had shifted. She wasn't the same girl anymore, not the one they mocked, and not the one who needed to hide. She had faced them all, and this time she had spoken. If there's one thing this story shows, it's that the past doesn't stay buried. Words matter, actions echo, and sometimes the ones you forget are the ones who remember everything. Because in the end, it wasn't about revenge, it was about truth. And Mia? She made sure the world finally heard hers.